Welcome, everyone, to another StoryTime adventure, Lesoul's Adventure, Episode 3. 3 weeks later, Lesoul sat down to meditate with the intention of receiving assistance from her guides and angels on the multidimensional timeline collapsing teaching materials, as well as the most powerful quantum fifth dimensional grid activation she could use for her clients to create the pathway and frequency resonance that is lasting and effortless. As Lesoul settled into her meditation room and on her cushion, she felt a familiar warmth wrap around her heart space. 3 weeks had passed since her realization that exploring and teaching about the multidimensional timeline convergence would be the next step in her journey. Now, her intention was clear: to receive guidance on how to translate her understanding of collapsing timelines into accessible teachings and to discover a powerful quantum fifth dimensional grid activation for her clients, one that would set them on a lasting, effortless pathway of raised frequency resonance. Soft candlelight flickered against the walls as she took a slow, deep breath. She exhaled any lingering tension and allowed herself to sink into the subtle currents of energy within and around her. The moment she invited her guides and angels to join her, she sensed their presence, gentle, loving, and infinitely wise. There were no words at first, only a swelling vibration of compassion and support that began to hum in her heart. A warm, golden light appeared behind her closed eyelids, as if the sun were rising gently within her inner vision. She recognized this as a sign her guides had arrived. When they came, a soothing voice, not in spoken words out loud, but as a quiet knowing that settled in her mind with crystal clarity. "Beloved one," the guidance began, "you stand at the threshold of a new teaching. All that you have learned about unity, co-creation, and flowing with the universe's divine orchestration has prepared you for this. The concept of timeline convergence is not separate from what you already understand. It is an expansion. Now you will bring these multidimensional teachings into form, guiding others to claim the wisdom and empowerment that lies in their own infinite nature." Lesoul inhaled this transmission, feeling her heart expand. She saw images forming, countless strands of light weaving through a cosmic tapestry. Each strand represented a timeline, a version of reality, a path once taken or yet to unfold. She watched as these threads began to spiral inward, merging at a central point of shimmering luminescence. This was the convergence, the meeting of all aspects of being in the eternal now. Her guides continued, "Teach them that all timelines exist simultaneously. Through awareness, forgiveness, and unconditional love, your clients can invite these threads to unify. As they do, the gifts of each timeline flow into the present, empowering and elevating their state of being. There is nothing to force, only to welcome. They need only open their hearts and allow their higher self to guide the integration." Lesoul felt her breath catch as a new vision emerged, this time of a crystalline grid shimmering with iridescent hues. It expanded beyond the Earth's surface, connecting star systems, soul families, and ancient wisdom keepers. She recognized it as a fifth dimensional quantum structure, humming at the frequency of love and unity. Now, the activation, the guide said. Begin by inviting your clients into a simple, heart centered space. Teach them to breathe through their heart, feeling the warmth of unconditional love. Then guide them to imagine a column of pure light descending from the great central sun through their crown and into their heart. Instruct them to see this light extend downward, connecting them to the crystalline core of the earth, forming a pillar of divine luminosity. Within this pillar, they stand at the crossroads of heaven and earth, anchored and uplifted simultaneously. Lesoul saw her clients standing in this pillar of light, serene and receptive. The guide continued. Next, direct their awareness outward. Have them sense the quantum grid of fifth dimensional energy, a lattice of brilliance gently surrounding the earth. It vibrates with the harmonic unity and the remembrance of who they are. And as they connect with this grid through their heart frequency, they will feel their timelines begin to harmonize. Guide them to recognize that all their gifts, insights, and lessons from across time and space are being gracefully drawn into the now. They do not have to strive. This is an effortless recognition. The timeline strands will naturally coalesce as they hold the frequency of love, trust, and surrender. In her mind's eye, Lesoul saw each participant radiating light, each one becoming a node on this glittering network of divine intelligence. She knew that once attuned to these frequencies, her client would experience shifts that required no strenuous effort, only the gentle maintenance of their heart connection. After the activation, the guides concluded softly, simply encourage them to be present. Let them feel the resonance in their cells, the softness in their emotions, and the quiet clarity in their mind. Remind them that they can return to this state easily, for it is their natural home frequency. In this place, miracles flow readily, synchronicities abound, and each step forward is guided by their higher wisdom. This is the gift you will offer, a pathway into their own timeless, multidimensional essence. Tears of gratitude welled in Lesoul's eyes as the guidance completed. She breathed deeply, allowing these instructions to settle within her. She knew she had received exactly what she needed, a blueprint to share with her community, a powerful yet simple process to help others integrate infinite potential into their everyday reality. As she gently emerged from meditation, Lesoul placed her hands over her heart and whispered, "Thank you." She could still feel the loving presence of her guides and angels around her, and she knew that this new teaching would carry forward into all dimensions of her work. It was time to bring these mysteries into the light of day, empowering others to embrace the fullness of who they really are, truly are. Lesoul knew she needed to journal everything that she received from her guides and angels to remember every detail of the powerful transmission. A few weeks more had gone by, and Lesoul was feeling confident and ready to work with her clients and community, facilitating this multidimensional timeline collapse and quantum fifth dimensional grid activation and upgrade. Within the quiet comfort of her writing nook, Lesoul had carefully recorded each insight and instruction from her guides, making sure that no subtle nuance was lost. Over the ensuing weeks, she read and reread her notes. A sense of steady assurance took root within her. The complexity of the concept no longer intimidated her. Instead, it felt like a natural next step in her unfolding path as a teacher and guide. She prepared her materials with loving intention, creating gentle meditations and visualizations that would help her clients access these higher frequencies. She designed the workshops that balanced intellectual understanding with intuitive experience, knowing that true integration came not just from learning the words, but from feeling the shifts deep inside. When she finally announced her upcoming sessions on multidimensional timeline collapse and the quantum fifth dimensional grid activation, her response from the community was immediate and enthusiastic. People were drawn by her sincerity and the resonance of the new teachings. They sensed that these sessions offered something rare, a direct path to deeper alignment and self empowerment and lasting transformation. On the morning of her first event, Lesoul took time to center herself. She lit a candle, inhaled the gentle scent of sage, and placed her hands over her heart, remembering the voice of her guides, the vision of that luminous grid shimmering around the earth, and the timeless quality of converging timelines. Everything felt in perfect harmony, the love she felt for her community, the trust she had in the universe, and the excitement of bringing forth these high frequency teachings. When her clients arrived, whether in person or through virtual connection, they found Lesoul's radiant calm and fully present nature. She welcomed them warmly, guiding them into the heart centered space, and would become the foundation of their experience. As they settled in, she could feel the energy in the room shift, gently lifting as everyone opened to the possibility of something extraordinary. This moment, Lesoul realized, was the culmination of all she had learned and integrated. Here she was, ready to help others step in to their expanded consciousness, to feel the truth of their multidimensional nature, and to harness the effortless flow of the quantum field. She was confident and at peace, knowing that as she facilitated these shifts for others, that they too would discover the infinite resources available within their own hearts. With a loving smile, she began the session, guiding her clients through the process of attunement, timeline convergence, and resonance with the fifth dimensional grid. The sense of unity and co creation in the space was palpable. And as the energy soared, Lesoul knew that each participant would leave transformed, carrying newfound empowerment into their daily lives, just as she had intended when she first sat down to journal and honor the guidance of her angels and guides. Lesoul began by guiding the group to take 3 deep breaths. Next, she said the prayer of intention, calling in all the guides, angels, ascended masters, galactic beings of light, and Akashic record masters to assist in the highest good of everyone gathered and the highest good of humanity in the highest timeline. So be it. It is done. Lesoul knew all the guides and beings of light were working to assist everyone's connection, acceleration, and upgrade. As the group settled into a comfortable quiet, Lesoul's voice resonated gently through the space. Each person present closed their eyes, breathing in and out as instructed, slowly allowing themselves to soften into the moment. The atmosphere became more still and sacred, with every breath as if the room itself were hushed by invisible wings. After the third collective inhale and exhale, Lesoul spoke the prayer of intention, her calm voice resolute. We call upon all of our angels, guides, and ascended masters, galactic beings of light, and Akashic Record masters. We ask you to be here now to assist us, uplift us, and hold us in the highest good of everyone gathered, and for the highest good of humanity in the highest timeline. So be it. It is done. As the final words left her lips, a subtle shift occurred in the room. The energy grew more luminous, as though countless unseen presences had gently stepped closer. Some participants felt a soft warmth at their backs or the tingling of gentle currents passing over their skin. Others perceived colors dancing behind their closed eyelids or faint tones humming just at the edges of hearing. Lesoul knew without a doubt that the call had been answered. She trusted the wisdom and benevolence of these high-frequency beings who had come forward. In her mind's eye, she saw filaments of light weaving through the circle, connecting with each individual's field to an intricate lattice of divine support. Above and around them, higher dimensional energies sparkled. Frequencies from angelic realms, star systems, and ancient wisdom lineages converged to hold space for transformation. In those present, the feeling was both comforting and exhilarating. The participants sensed that they were about to embark on a profound inner journey, guided not by effort or striving, but by alignment with their own highest nature. They could feel the subtle currents of acceleration already stirring in their hearts, as if their souls recognized this moment as a key turning point, an opportunity to integrate timelines, upgrade their energetic framework, and anchor into a more effortless and grace-filled way of being. With everyone settled into this shared field of intention and support, Lesoul prepared to lead them deeper. The stage was set, the support in place, and the light was flowing. This was where quantum shifts in consciousness, healing, and alignment would occur and could occur smoothly, powerfully, and lovingly. The energy in the room was powerful. It took about 30 minutes for everyone to be able to talk or move. This was transformation. As the last person left the gathering, Lesoul sat down to absorb what had just taken place. She was flying high on the higher energies, so she knew she needed to do some grounding work. When the final participant offered a grateful smile and stepped out into the world, the room was left in a shimmering quiet. Lesoul remained where she stood, feeling as if the walls themselves still hummed with the energy they had invoked. It was a reverent hush, a sacred aftermath of profound transformation. She slowly sat down, closing her eyes, recalling the faces of each participant. She saw again the threads of light weaving into their fields, felt their subtle bodies glowing, and remembered the soft, suspended silence of that 30-minute window where no one could speak. In that silence, everything had been recalibrated: minds, hearts, timelines, and intentions, folding gracefully into a new alignment. Yet, as expansive and uplifting as the energy was, Lesoul knew the importance of staying balanced. She felt herself vibrating at a noticeably higher frequency, her thoughts drifting swiftly through the realms of possibility. This was exhilarating, but she understood that to integrate these energies, she needed to anchor them into her physical body and present reality. With that in mind, she placed her hands on her abdomen, pressing gently to feel the solidity of her body and inviting her spirit to settle. She visualized roots of light growing from the base of her spine, twining down through the floor into the building's foundation and further still into the welcoming arms of earth. She breathed slowly, feeling the cool steadiness of the soil, the ancient wisdom of stones, and the stable heartbeat of Gaia herself. As each breath deepened, she could sense a gentle settling, as if grains of sand were drifting down in a glass vessel, forming a steady foundation. The high frequencies still shone in her aura, but now they were held with more balance, integrated into the physical. She imagined her heart as a spacious room that could hold the loftiness of spirit and the rootedness of matter without contradiction. After a few moments, a calm smile touched her lips. She felt grateful for the participants who trusted her, and for the guides and masters who had supported them all, and for the earth that now helped her bring these experiences into tangible form. She knew that this was only the beginning of what she could share, teach, and explore. With the night still and gentle around her, Lesoul acknowledged the profound magic that had just unfolded. This was what it meant to bring higher dimensional energies into everyday life, tending to the afterglow, grounding the insights, and preparing for the next chapter of the unfolding journey. The next day, Lesoul was still walking on a cloud from the day before, after holding the space for the experiencing the quantum fifth dimensional grid activations for and with her group. She sat down in her meditation room with her laptop, ready to check her emails. She was taken aback by the hundreds of emails. She needed to sort through and look at offers with her heart, checking to make sure they were in alignment with her divine plan. It brought her great clarity to do a short heart-mind coherence visualization. She went through the emails and one offer stood out. She was being asked to speak at a very large annual event in London. She knew of this organizer and was always appreciative of the guests they gathered each year. Lesoul thought to herself, to be considered among them was an honor indeed. Of course she would attend. It was in 6 weeks' time, so she had time to tailor a talk for that audience, which were, by the way, very well read and knowledgeable. Lesoul smiled softly, feeling a warm sense of validation rise within her. The London event was well known for gathering leading voices in spiritual evolution, consciousness studies, and holistic science. To be invited to that circle was indeed an honor, one that confirmed the resonance of her recent work and the universality of the messages she carried. Yet she knew that stepping onto that stage would be a new challenge. This audience would arrive with well-honed discernment, curious minds, and open hearts. They were seekers who read widely, studied diligently, and understood the nuances of multidimensional theory. They would not only welcome her teachings, they would engage with them, test them, integrate them deeply. This awareness thrilled and centered her. Before replying, Lesoul paused. She closed her laptop for a moment and placed her hands lightly on her heart. She breathed in, feeling her heartbeat and the calm clarity it offered. In this gentle stillness, she asked herself, "What is my intention for speaking in London?" The answer rose within her like a whispered truth: to serve as a catalyst, providing insights that will help others trust their own inner guidance and expand their understanding of unity and the multidimensional nature of existence. This was all about planting seeds of remembrance. She would speak not to impress, but to inspire, not to show how much she knew, but to awaken what was already known within those who listened. The London audience didn't need convincing. They needed a spark, a doorway, a point of resonance that reminded them of their own inner wisdom. After this reflection, Lesoul returned to her laptop and typed a gracious acceptance. She expressed how honored she was, how she looked forward to co-creating a transformative experience, and how grateful she felt to share this next expansion of her work with such an esteemed gathering. When she clicked send, she felt a familiar inner hum, like a chord struck in perfect tune. Over the next 6 weeks, she would refine her talk, perhaps weaving in the concept of time convergence, demonstrating the effortless co-creation that occurs when we align with our hearts, offering glimpses into the quantum fifth dimensional grid that could be tapped for personal and collective evolution. This was the next step, the next door the universe had opened. With heart and mind coherence, she would walk through it with grace and excitement, trusting that all would unfold in divine timing. The day of Lesoul's London adventure had arrived. Lesoul stood before the mirror in her hotel room, taking a deep and steadying breath. London's morning light filtered softly through the curtains, illuminating her reflection. Behind her, the skylight stretched out, ancient stones meeting modern steel, traditional blending seamlessly with innovation. She could feel the city's pulse, just as she sensed the energy of the day ahead. Her invitation to speak at this annual gathering had come as both an honor and a challenge, prompting weeks of preparation and introspection. Now that the day had arrived, she felt the gentle hum of excitement in her cells. She knew what she would share wouldn't just be words or concepts. It would be a transmission of frequency, an invitation for the audience to step more fully into their multidimensional nature. Before leaving the room, Lesoul closed her eyes and centered herself. She imagined roots of light dropping down from her feet, anchoring her into the Earth's core, while a brilliant column of divine energy cascaded through her crown. She spoke a quiet prayer of gratitude for the guides and angels who had supported her journey, for the participants who would gather, and for the infinite intelligence that had orchestrated these opportunities. Once outside, she joined the flow of people heading toward the conference venue. The air carried a cool freshness and a sense of promise. As she approached the building, she passed attendees who held programs and sipped coffee, their eyes bright with curiosity and anticipation. Everything felt in alignment. Each step closer to the stage strengthened her resolve. She was ready to share her truth, to open hearts and minds to the subtle yet profound realms of unity consciousness, timeline convergence, and the quantum fifth dimensional grid. When the time came to walk on the stage, Lesoul did so gracefully, carrying a calm assurance in her presence. The room, the largest she had ever spoken in, was filled with attentive faces. Scholars, seekers, mystics, and visionaries had gathered here. She felt their combined energy and recognized it, a spacious openness, a readiness to embrace new frontiers of understanding. Standing behind the podium, she greeted them and began. Her words flowed like a gentle stream, weaving personal experience, channeled wisdom, and the insights gleaned from her recent work. She guided them through the concepts of multidimensional timelines collapsing into the now and the luminous structure of the quantum grid, and the effortless expansion that could arise when one lived from a place of heart-centered intention. As she spoke, she saw recognition blossoming in many eyes. There were nods and quiet smiles, thoughtful furrowed brows, and even a few tears from those who felt her words resonate deeply within their own soul memory. The room's energy, once anticipatory, became elevated and warm, like a collective exhale of understanding and relief. Yes, Lesoul thought, this is why I'm here, to serve as a mirror, reflecting their own infinite potential, to remind them that truth wasn't something to be found outside of themselves, but something to be awakened from within. When her talk concluded, the applause was sincere and spirited. Questions poured forth, rich and meaningful. Lesoul engaged with them, co-creating understanding as they explored the mysteries of consciousness together. By the end, the room felt transformed. More than just a lecture hall, it had become a space where ideas and frequencies danced together, forming a tapestry of shared expansion. Later, as she stepped out into the London twilight, the day's events still shimmered in her heart. She marveled at how each step of her journey had led her here, to this meaningful exchange in a city that blended history and new possibility. She smiled, taking in the illuminated streets and the hum of conversation all around her, knowing that the echoes of this day would continue to ripple through countless lives, hers included, long after she returned home. To wind down, Lesoul decided to take a walk, since she was near a colorful shopping area filled with lights and travelers. She knew she would enjoy the surroundings. She spied a quaint coffee shop and decided to stop in for a chai tea latte and relax a little bit. As the gentle bustle of London's evening life began to swirl around her, she had stepped onto a street adorned with vibrant storefronts and twinkling lights. The city's eclectic charm enchanted her senses, voices speaking various languages, the soft hum of music drifting through the air, and the irresistible aroma of street vendors blending with the crisp night breeze. Dawn deeper in this tapestry, drawn deeper into this tapestry, her gaze caught that whimsical sign that drew her in. It was a sign swinging above a modest doorway, a painted teacup and a saucer with the words, "The Cosmic Cup," inscribed in curling letters. It was tucked between a boutique draped in silks and a small bookstore brimming with well-loved paperbacks. She felt an instant resonance, an energetic nudge that said, "Stop here, rest a while." This is what she considered as she stepped inside the coffee shop, which was cozy and warm, as its wooden tables illuminated by fairy lights strung across the ceiling. As she approached the counter, a friendly barista with kind eyes and a quiet smile greeted her. Without hesitation, Lesoul ordered a chai tea latte. While she waited, her gaze settled on a corner table with a well-worn armchair, as if that spot had been reserved just for her arrival. Once her latte was ready, she carried the warm cup back to the chair and sank into its cushions. The flavors of spiced tea and creamy milk were comforting and familiar, a gentle grounding after the day's expansion and high-frequency interaction. As she sipped, she allowed her mind to drift over the events of the day. She recalled the audience members at the conference, their curious faces and sparkling eyes as they absorbed her words. She remembered the feeling of unity that had filled the room as everyone tapped into the subtle, expansive realms of multidimensional awareness. And now here she was, blending into the tapestry of a quiet London evening. There was something perfect and poetic about it all. Moments of grandeur followed by moments of gentle solitude, both essential parts of the journey. Looking around, she admired the easy camaraderie of strangers sharing a peaceful moment. A traveler at the next table thumbed through a guidebook. A couple laughed softly over their pastries. Students typed on laptops, occasionally pausing to daydream out the window. Each person carried their own story, their own path, and yet here they all were, woven together in a single scene. It reminded Lesoul that the unity she spoke of on stage could also be found in the smallest, most ordinary moments, wherever souls gathered, sharing space and energy. She breathed in the comforting scent of cinnamon and cloves. This was the integration phase, she realized, letting the day's lessons settle into her bones, allowing the joy and meaning of it all to find their place in her heart. Tomorrow she might travel again or return home, but for now she was fully present, savoring her chai tea and the quiet magic of this hidden little cafe. With a soft smile, she whispered gratitude to the universe, reveling in the simple truth that every moment was a gift, a thread in this grand tapestry of existence. As Lesoul continued to enjoy her sweet cup of chai tea latte, a man approached her and asked if no one was sitting in the empty chair, would she mind if he joined her? Lesoul looked up from her cup, pleasantly surprised at the gentle voice breaking the evening stillness. The man looked to be in his early 40s, with kind eyes and a warm half smile lingering at the corner of his lips. She noticed his relaxed posture and the soft way he spoke. It felt like a natural, unhurried presence, asking for simple companionship rather than intruding into her space. Not at all, she replied, returning a smile. Please have a seat. As he settled into the chair, the sounds of the coffee shop seemed to recede slightly, as if making room for this small yet meaningful connection. She took another sip of her chai, letting the sweetness and spice anchor her, and met his gaze. In a world of countless strangers brushing past one another, any genuine moment of acknowledgement could feel like a gentle beam of light. Thank you, he said, pausing to straighten his jacket. I just arrived in London today, and this place seemed inviting. His voice carried a lilting accent, though Lesoul couldn't immediately place it. He glanced at her cup and then back at her. Chai tea latte, he noted appreciatively. A good choice. They make a lovely one here. Lesoul smiled again, feeling at ease. There was an unspoken understanding that they were both travelers in some sense, whether from abroad or simply passing through life's many chapters, and that this brief meeting over warm cups and a quiet conversation was another form of co-creation. Just as she had taught and learned at the event earlier that day, now she was a student again, ready to discover what insights a chance encounter might bring. I'm Lesoul, she offered, extending not only her name, but a willingness to share a moment of authenticity. It's my first time in London as well. What brought you here? I run a sheep farm just outside Edinburgh, and I also have a sideline as a publisher of metaphysical books. My guilty pleasure is diving deep into those books. It's hard to find people willing to talk about life on a soul level. How about yourself? He said, with an interested smile in his eyes. Lesoul's eyes lit up, clearly intrigued by the synchronicity of their encounter. She set her cup down and leaned in just a bit, pleased by his willingness to venture into the deeper currents of conversation. A sheep farmer and a metaphysical publisher, she said softly, savoring the unexpected combination. I love that. It sounds like you're bridging two very different worlds. She took a moment to choose her words thoughtfully. As for me, I've just spoken at a conference here in London. My work involves guiding people into deeper levels of consciousness, helping them understand that we are more than just these physical bodies moving through the world. She paused, considering how much to reveal, and then smiled at the trust that seemed to be forming. I've been exploring and teaching about multidimensional timelines, unity consciousness, and how we carry an inner wisdom that transcends this single lifetime. Lesoul wrapped her hands around her chai tea latte again, the fragrance comforting her as she let a small piece of her truth shine in this quiet, unexpected conversation. Like you, I've found that discussions on a soul level aren't always easy to come by, but it's meaningful when people are willing to meet you there. I'm glad we both stumbled into this cozy cafe tonight. Lesoul looked deeply into his eyes, feeling a deep soul knowing while she fluttered with butterflies. She allowed the silence to linger a moment, letting the energy between them speak. Outside, travelers passed by. Lights flickered in the shops, and distant laughter floated on the air. But at that moment, the world narrowed to the quiet magic of two people connecting deeply. I can relate to what you've said, Lesoul continued, her tone intimate but not forceful. Walking between worlds, the earthly and the ethereal, can feel lonely sometimes, and yet when we follow those intuitive nudges, we find others who share this path. I'm grateful we're sharing this moment now. Her eyes held his, reflecting a calm certainty. She realized that this meeting here in a London cafe was yet another piece of the grand tapestry, the interplay of souls meeting at precise junctures. It felt natural and at the same time extraordinary. My name's Tom, as he held his hand out to take hers. Lesoul gently placed her hand in his, noticing the warmth of his touch and the sincerity in his eyes. A gentle current of energy seemed to flow between them, and subtle yet undeniable. Tom, she repeated softly, as if tasting the shape of his name, letting it settle into the moment. I'm Lesoul, she offered. Her voice was quiet and clear, carrying the simple truth of who she was. She felt a sense of calm confidence, a confirmation that this meeting, this exchange of names, was yet another step forward in a beautifully choreographed dance of synchronicity. The chatter of the cafe continued around them, blending with the distinct hum of the city at night. But within their little circle of connection, time felt different. It stretched, expanded, and softened, as if allowing them to fully appreciate this delicate unfolding. Still holding Tom's hand, Lesoul smiled, genuinely delighted that he had chosen to cross the threshold of the cafe, bridging two worlds, his and hers, into a single shared reality. After the talking the night away, Tom saw Lesoul safely back to her hotel. He was showing her the London sights tomorrow. She found herself looking forward to it with a feeling that this was something big happening in her life. As the soft glow of the hallway light fell across her hotel door, Lesoul lingered for a moment, noticing the gentle warmth she carried within. She pressed the key card against the lock, feeling the quiet click, and stepped inside. A hush, the hush of her room enveloped her, yet it felt different now, less solitary, more alive with possibilities. She set her purse down and walked to the window, gazing out at the city's sparkling skyline. The Distant hum of traffic and laughter drifted up, a lullaby of human existence. Tonight, instead of feeling like an observer passing through, she felt connected to Tom, to this moment, to the future, and what was quietly taking shape. They had talked about everything and nothing, cosmic insights and simple joys, timeless wisdom of nature, and the delicate mysteries of the human heart. He listened with genuine curiosity, asking the right questions, and responded thoughtfully. She, in turn, found herself opening up easily, naturally, as if she'd known him far longer than a single evening. And now the promise of tomorrow's outing shimmered in her mind, a day spent exploring London's streets and stories with Tom as her guide. She could sense that this was no ordinary sightseeing trip, not just another marker in her travel journal. There was a gentle certainty that this connection, improbable and unexpected, was significant. Whether it would become a cherished friendship or something even more profound, she did not know. But the anticipation felt like a quiet thrill, a light buzzing at the edges of her awareness. Lesoul inhaled deeply, letting the excitement settle in her heart. She knew from experience that life's most meaningful events would arrive in subtle packages: an introduction at a cafe, a hand offered in kindness, a shared conversation under dim lights. The big moments weren't always loud or grand. Sometimes they were soft and steady, making themselves known through the feeling of rightness. She smiled at her reflection in the window and whispered a quiet gratitude for the day that had passed and for the one about to unfold. Then, turning from the city's sparkle, she slipped into bed, certain that when dawn arrived, she would greet it with an open heart, ready for whatever the universe had arranged next. And that is the end of episode 3 of Lesoul's adventure for StoryTime. We hope you enjoyed it, and please leave a comment. Hopefully, you're not awake to hear this, but if you are, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you for episode 4. Thank you. Nighty night.